Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Aurora series Valorant. My name is Ancient Angel. Here with me is Lil Hoppa, and we are coming at you for round two lower bracket. It's do or die for these teams in playoffs right now.
Yeah, so we have a really exciting matchup tonight. It's going to be the University of Waterloo, which, if you were tuned in last night, you got to see them beat the Bearcats just barely, 2-1. Very close map, or very close matchup, two overtime games, and they're going to be going up against the defending champions from our last series, North Texas. So, like Angel said, do or die. Whichever team loses this gets knocked out. So, we're looking to see potentially North Texas get dethroned by Waterloo, or if North Texas can defend their titles as the champions.
Yeah, that's the other thing too about this game that I find so fascinating is the fact that we're in the lower bracket now, right? Neither of these teams have another chance here. UNT, University of North Texas, ended up losing their upper bracket game just before this upper bracket round two against the Fisher Fumblers. And that was a 2-1 game. It was super close, but they couldn't close it out. And so now they're forced down to this lower bracket do or die. And the stakes here are pretty intense because the winner of this game will be going to the on land finals in Kansas City, if I remember correctly. And that's kind of a huge selling point of this game.
Yeah, so like you said, winner of this game does get to go to our LAN finals in Kansas, like you mentioned. But why don't we go ahead and get into the map pick so we can see what we're in for this evening?
Yeah, and this is a really interesting map selection, right? Because it's those new or the new map pool coming into this. So Pearl would technically be on the market, but unfortunately it was banned away by Waterloo. So we've got Sunset and Bind as those first two maps, but then hey, returning friendly face of Split coming in as that decider. How are we feeling overall about this set of three maps? Sunset, Bind, and Split.
So I am really, maybe it's a little selfish of me. I'm hoping we get to see that split just because I think that it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be really refreshing to see split being played. Sunset, pretty standard. I do believe we actually saw Waterloo play Sunset last night, if I remember correctly. Pearl, though, also, or I'm sorry, Pearl was banned.
Yeah.
Looking at the image, but yeah, I think it'll be really nice to see Sunset. I feel like Sunset is pretty conducive to just straightforward Valorant gameplay. Bind is going to be really exciting. And yeah, I think that the two maps just have such different play styles. So I think it's going to be really exciting to see how these teams play these vastly different maps.
The other thing that I think is really going to be interesting, and I kind of want to hyper focus on this Sunset pick from Waterloo. It does feel like Sunset is one of their comfort maps, so to speak, right? The way that they generally like to play here, the way that they have these really slow A defaults where they're always sending one or two players towards A on the attack, or they're going for really fast mid crunches at the start of the round. It really does feel like Waterloo has a very set identity on Sunset. And so something that's going to be interesting is if University of North Texas can counter that, as we move on to Bind, it feels like that Bind might be a bit of a punish pick coming out. So it's going to be really interesting to see as this map evolves, potentially what we're waiting for on Bind.
Yeah, and I mean, Waterloo did look really good on Bind the last time we saw them. They actually had a pretty unconventional composition, but speaking
Mm-hmm.
of compositions, let's focus on Sunset here. Um, what I find very interesting about Sunset is that, we're seeing a very big shift, which could potentially be going away just because of the neon nerfs that are upcoming, but we saw a shift from a raised meta to a neon meta.
For
So I
sure.
like that we're seeing both these duelists here. We're going to get to see, how you play around them, and also with the initiators having
Mm-hmm.
that Sova and Breach compared to a Gecko and a Sky. So I love that we're seeing some variety in the choices here from both of these teams.
And I'm not gonna lie, personally, I'm a big fan of the Gecko Sky. I think recently, with the different variations of utility that we've seen, this Gecko Sky combination is like perfect because you have all the strengths of old Sky, where you could have utility that would constantly be able to be reused, plus some of the little intricacies of Gecko, like having the wingman to plant the spike and defuse it. But you still have that powerful pop flash from the sky, the very good potent information that the Trailblazer can give you, and plus that heal all for the bonus, but you don't have to rely on that utility as much because you have the Dizzy for some more defaulty approaches.
Definitely, and I feel like also looking at these compositions, talking about that Rays Gecko Sky, there is so much potential there in terms of utility just between those three agents. However, the downside is that you need to be a lot more coordinated with how you throw that utility. You know, can you pop the flash? Like, timing.
Oh, for sure, right? Because you have the Sova and the Breach, right? And that Breach utility, we know, super powerful. That stun that's going to last for quite a few seconds. It's going to be good for any sort of slightly delayed swings. But as the scuffle takes place in mid here, you know, it does feel like UNT, they have a good idea of, you know, Waterloo's approach to Sunset.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a fairly standard pistol round taking place from Waterloo. We're seeing that defaulting just a little bit. They are leaning towards A, but they still have some lurkers, one tiles, one in that B main to get some information, which it looks like that lurk is paying off because we are seeing...
Oh, huge opener. Because that just completely cracks open the A site and catch me on this lurk. I mean, that information alone, it's going to keep a player there. So this site, this A site, going to be even easier to lay into. But Waterloo, they're trying to play the super big rotation game right now. And it seems they're going to opt back towards B.
I love this lurk out of Castley because, you know, at the start of the round, she was able to bring some players over onto the B site. And, oh man, it looks like A is just open again. Waterloo is just able to work this map so well on this pistol round. University of North Texas beginning to rotate over. Looks like they're finally privy that this is going to be an A hit. All B gets her head taken off by Sage.
The fact that Sage now brought things into even numbers means that UNT's retake is going to be a lot more stable. Sage is just going to run out onto the site, but Bab's able to take care of that, but immediately the trade is there from Jelly and Jay. They're able to combine for 3, and yeah, Jelly just pick up the second on the round as well. 4 kills on the retake. Looks perfect and coordinated. UNT, not a flawless pistol round, but almost a flawless retake.
UNT did not come to play. They want to keep their defending spot. They want to win this championship yet again. I mean, like you mentioned, beautifully executed retake. We kind of talked a little bit during Agent Select about, you know, the initiators and how you have to coordinate that util, and I think that was an example right there. Beautiful coordination from the side of North Texas, so I don't think they're going to have any problems coordinating their util throughout the series.
I would agree, and so, you know, now the question is, when it comes to Waterloo, is what does your post plant look like, right? Obviously, this round's a bit of a wash, because it's just like a frenzy and one light shield, so nothing too crazy to be expected here, but, you know, in the future, when you have rifles in your hands, what do your post plants look like? Are you able to hold on to those sites and prevent a very coordinated UNT?
Speaking of UNT, they are not shying away from taking space here, despite Waterloo having a gun disadvantage. L gets 2 before getting taken down. Jay cleaning the round up, getting the last 2, and that is a second round on the board for the University of North Texas. Only losing 1 gun, so not too much economic damage. Overall, very solid round from them.
And, you know, you mentioned only losing that 1 gun. You're actually gonna see a little bit of a reinvestment here from Hell. They've opted for the full buy-in here, Vandals, Light Shields. How do we feel about that?
So, to me, this is like... this is the NA buy,
Okay.
as Ed is so affectionately referred to, where, you know, you force up after you die during that initial force round. I don't think it's a terrible idea just because the rest of North Texas does have pretty good buys.
Oh.
Speaking of which, Sage immediately able to get 2. That's gonna add just that much more value to that force up from Hell.
I was gonna mention, like, that's just, you know, it was really cool that, like,
Scout just
Hell had an Iron Buddy, because I'm a big buddies, but Castley, no Iron Buddy needed. It's just a frag that eventually goes their way, and Ji Young as well able to find one onto Jelly. Means that things are actually a 3v3 here, and you can see 2 players, well, 1 on either side, very low HP, so in terms of the health department, this is as even as you can get.
University of North Texas falling back just a little bit, not taking quite as much space as we saw last round. Players are a little bit spread out right now. On the contrary, Waterloo all grouped up as they silently walk into A elbow here. Will Sage be able to get this information and get these picks as they entry onto the site?
30 seconds left.
I mean, you can see Sage just holding for this elbow, but the timing, it's not there. So you get taken out and your teammate in hell falls as well. And now a 3v1 or a 1v3, depending on which way you look at it for Lilac. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, looks like Lilac is going to just have to win this 1v3. A Spectre in a Dream.
Good upgrade here. Cage trigger. Grabs those Phantom, but there's the relay bolt coming through. So Lilac even more time getting that drain out of the clock here. You have no information. You've just got to go for some swings. And yeah, making this arguably safer call here to, no pun intended, save. It's going to be Waterloo. 3 alive on the first gun round.
Great round from Waterloo, only losing 2 during that first gun round. Definitely going to help him out economically. Oh, Ji-young does get taken down by the spike. Not necessarily a bad thing. That's one more ult orb online at least.
And the other thing... Actually, wait, do you get an ult orb for dying to spike?
I believe you do. Don't quote me on that.
We'll fact check in between breaks. But overall, for Waterloo, you're still keeping at least 2 guns alive, so, you know, it could be worse, but you can see the reinvestment coming through, right? Ji-young and feeling it, both on Bulldogs, everyone on North Texas, gonna be on those confident rifles, Phantoms, and Vandals galore, as it's a mid-play yet again.
A lot of early aggression from both sides. It is an all-out battle mid and tiles. Jay gonna be able to take down her mirror, feeling it all.
I know exactly.
That's the second of the round before getting traded out by Hell. Hell gets 2 before getting taken out by Ji-young. Paranoia does come out. Jay is able to take down that. Gets their 3rd pick of the round on Ji-young, and that is going to be a very, very fast round. And another round on the board for the University of North Texas.
No, that was beautiful coming out from UNT, that collapse onto mid. It worked out perfectly in their favor, and now for Waterloo, they're on the back foot economically, right? They're gonna have to, you know, sit down and take this eco, and for North Texas, I mean, this is an opportunity to run away with the game here.
Definitely, I mean, even just looking at the economies, you know, North Texas is in a really great place right now. Even if they were to hypothetically lose this next round, they can all still afford a gun next round. Compared to Waterloo, who is being forced on a save. Speaking of which, looks like they're going for a little bit of a split here. That Sky Flash is going to hit the B main players. Overdrive online. Looks like that might be what they're trying to play for here. They now fall back out of the B main.
Decide to fade away, but look at Helen Tiles. Will be able to take care of Ji-young, but immediately that overdrive comes out from Albi, pushing forward, will take care of Hell, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, but Jelly in mid able to make sure that the numbers are in control for UNT, and Jay and Sage can close things out, clean things up, and UNT find their way to a very clean 4th round.
Great round from UNT. I love the way that both teams played that round, but what I really love about UNT is that they're so confident in everything they do. You know, they're not afraid to take space even when they do have such a heavy gun advantage. They're not afraid to take space because they know how to play off each other. You know, they know they're not doting any guns because they're all doubled up. They're all in tradable positions. Waterloo, it looks like they're leaning towards A site here. Not many ultimates online. They are 1 away from that Breach Rolling Thunder. Speaking of Breach, we're seeing that
my camera is
fault line come through.
Triggered.
Lilac's camera does get destroyed, so they are aware that they're going to be running into Cypher utility if they choose to hold the site.
Aldi already found their way to elbow. Lilac and Sage just holding on the site. As the spike is headed towards mid, Aldi could get caught out here if you're not careful, especially considering the Trailblazer has already spotted you out.
Relay bolt coming out. Aldi stuck. Pretty tough position. Gets taken down by Sage. The rest of her team works their way into the market. Hey, just mowing them down before ultimately getting traded out by Vav.
And now Jelly has to be the one to hold here from the main, tucked in towards this corner. No one's looking. Vav gets caught out on the plant as well. And UNT, I mean, this defense is so layered, it's unstoppable.
I may have damaged my fingers.
We are going to be seeing the first timeout getting called of the series by Castley, Waterloo's captain. So, you know, I think Waterloo is having a little bit of a rough time right now. Like you had mentioned, UNT's defense is just impenetrable, and it's interesting because it's not even that they're just locking stuff down. They're just pushing and able to get these picks.
It's weird because at the, the start of this map, we saw UNT have very coordinated retakes, and that's what really was able to drive their success in that pistol round. But then everything after that, it's been these very, I want to say, proactive pushes that UNT has done that has provided them with just a ton of value here, right? Whether they're pushing down mid with 3 people, each holding different angles, and Waterloo being a little bit careless in how they clear, or just being able to push into B main and find a very good opportunity. Waterloo, it almost feels like a default would be really, really great from them in one of these upcoming rounds to try and disrupt some of these pushes that UNT have been getting away with.
Yeah, I mean, like you had mentioned, the pushes we've been seeing from UNT are great. They're just able to kind of catch Waterloo off guard, and I think this is part of what I love about the current meta of double initiator, because we were stuck in a double controller meta for a very long time, but being able to have one initiator on both sites allows them to take so much more space early on in the round. Speaking of taking space, Jelly with the showstopper barely misses though. A little bit of a Rosa there. Hell's able to take down Aldi though, getting that opening pick of the round. Jelly still holding this line from elbow. UNT was able to get the information that B main is clear, so they are aware that this is likely going to be a hard A site hit. As I say that, though, Waterloo starts to work their way towards tiles, leaving Castley on the lurch.
Ooh, and Castley, information known, at the very least will prevent that Dizzy from being recovered, so at least, nice little consolation prize there. Remove some of that utility from the UNT side as Market now becomes the choice of avenues for Waterloo. Jelly pushing out, but Lilac still able to find one. Does get traded out by Ji Young though, so numbers still manageable for Waterloo, especially if Sage never gets discovered here, but Castley should be able to calm that across. So Sage gonna get cornered here in between a rock and a hard place, but still able to dig their way out. Takes care of Ji Young and still remains alive. Now a teammate ready to bail them out, but Castley good on the shot and feeling it with the swing and turn things into a 2-on-2. Jelly's gonna start to tap to try and bait the peak, and feeling it might be the first to fall. And now it's Castley 1v2. Spike not known, and Jelly can take the shot, win the fight, and bring things up 6-1 UNT lead.
Just a slight misplay in the timing from Waterloo. I believe that was Feelin' It who went down as that Omen smoke was going down towards B main. And I do want to talk about that smoke for a second, because I think it's really interesting that Jay chose to smoke off the choke point of main rather than smoking the bomb off. I mean, Angel, do you have any thoughts on that? Just because I know that that's something that a lot of controller players debate about. Do you want to smoke off the main to spam? Do you want to smoke the bomb off?
So I think with the main play, it's not bad if you have the game plan, and it was very clear that UNT had the game plan, right? Jay going to throw that main smoke, try and bait out the spam, and then push. But speaking of pushing, Aldi going immediately in towards elbow, finds that opener, takes care of Hell. That's the Gecko offline, and Jelly, you're gonna be next up to bat here. What can you find? Well, you found one, but Vav's there for the trade. Make sure that Waterloo can remain with that player advantage as the rest of this round continues on. Aftershock gonna force Jay out of that position. Now they're gonna start looking for a fight to be taken, but nothing found. Just a little bit of information. UNT, what can you do in the 3v4 retake?
Looks like we're going to be seeing a bit of a split retake here. Lilac able to spot out, Feelin' It. Jay capitalized off of that. Spray transfers onto Aldi. It is now a 3v2.
One enemy remaining.
That's Lilac. Vav gets Jay.
One enemy
Before
remaining.
Sage gets the first, and she get the second. That Hunter's Fury is online for post plant. She's gonna have to try to bait that out from Vav.
Vav's got it. Starts to send it out. Sage tries to run away, but to no avail. 3 on the round from Vav to bring Waterloo to that long-awaited second round.
Great adaptation from Waterloo. I love the aggression, you know. They said University of North Texas getting aggressive, we can be even more aggressive. Aldi being able to... I'm sorry. I believe that was Aldi who got the opening picks there,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
Correct.
But yeah, that was a really great round from them. And I loved how, you know, they had that post plant for Vav. They weren't afraid to kind of send Vav off on a little side quest towards top mid post plant there, just to have a safe spot to ult from. It looks like we're seeing some aggression again as Waterloo. The elbow. Jelly punishes Aldi for this over-aggression here.
Ooh, okay, swing. It looked good for a second, but the shot just went a little bit too high for Castley to find the trade. So UNT still going to be working in that 5v4. Boombot's going to get destroyed. There's the recommit. It's actually off the back of the Rolling Thunder, but hell! Okay, eventually gets cleared. Had a chance as Vav finds the double opener. Cracks open this site, but there's all 3 UNT defenders are going to be here. That breach utility. It's good to stun people up, but do they capitalize? Yes, they do. Sage is gone, and now it's that 4v2 as they're wrapping CT, and they're going to run to the B site.
Last player standing.
From the shadows does come out, like you'd mentioned, that bomb is getting planted on the B site, so it's going to be a very tough 1v3 retake from Jay on the side of the University of North Texas. Does get spotted out by that Cypher camera. Waterloo is aware of Jay's position here. Looks like they... Oh, Jay is wrapping into market potentially. Waterloo does take some CT space.
They have all that space in Boba, and that's where the spike is planted. So, Jay, you're going to have to play a really risky game, and as you're just running it down, feeling it was ready, holding you that entire time. So, Waterloo, after the tough first quarter, now as we're in the latter stages of the half, they're starting to build some momentum.
I love this out of Waterloo. You know, I think that first round after the timeout, they were still on a save, so we're finally seeing the effects of that timeout taking place. And one thing I do want to highlight from the side of Waterloo is the usage of Castley. So all of last series that was aired last night, we saw Castley had these super impactful lurks, and that was ultimately what was able to bring Waterloo to their victory last night. But it looks like they're kind of, oh, as I say that, Castley is back on the lurk, but they've been having Castley hit the site with them and then take these really ratty spots close to him, which I like. We are seeing a bit of a fight in elbow here. A lot of Evo getting taken out. All the pushed out by that Mosh.
Yeah, opts to just run away, and you can see now that the lurk from Castley's coming through, they have all that B space. The Seekers are going to go through as well, so potentially some mid spam going to be ready. Unfortunately, for the side of UNT, no kills found off the back of it. Instead, it's Lilac to take care of Castley and towards B main. But the swing onto the site, it's still good from Lilac to double up here as the anchor. Jay finds Vav over towards mid, and feeling it can only trade 1-for-1. So it's a 1v4 for Ji-Young as the Trailblazer goes out. Ji-Young, you have so much to do, and you need to find one to start things off, but Hell shuts that down before it even can think about getting started. UNT guarantee a lead at the half.
Great round from UNT there. I think Waterloo, you know, they tried their best to work the map there. I'm curious to see if they're going to have Castley continue on the lurk or go back to having these 5-man hits with Castley kind of taking a bit of an off angle during the post plant. But I do want to point out that the 2 rounds that Waterloo have won since their timeout, they've been relying on ultimates to win these rounds. You know, we saw the Rolling Thunder, we saw the Hunter's Fury, so I'm curious to see if they can pull off a round win here without any ultimates offline.
Gotta go.
He's gonna try and get something done with the classic. Actually jumps over the showstopper, but still, the Vandal will rue the day. Jelly finds that opener, and so Castley's gonna go for this lurk here and could find a nasty timing. Oh, found a gap through the camera. It's not expected. Castley, there's no trips here either. This is huge.
Lilac on the cam. Castley knows this.
Oh,
سلام عليك.
huge opener. And grabs the Vandal too. So there's potentially a ton of value to be found, but Sage takes care of Ji-Young. It means that Castley, you're going to have to go huge in Boba here. And there's still a player over towards B main. Oh, they're not going to be aware of this. Waterloo, they're going to get mowed down by Jay here. That's the first two. And now Castley, 1v4. Ji-Young wasn't able to get it done last round. Can you do it this round? You find the first. Your teammate was blinded up. Sage, though, recovers, stabilizes, and UNT makes sure to not get thrifty.
before the switch.
So we head into this final round of the half. The only ultimate online for the University of Waterloo is going to be that overdrive, so curious to see if we'll get any value out of that. On the contrary, though, University of North Texas, really great spot right now. They have that, oh my gosh, I can't think of Gecko's ultimate name,
Thrash?
so help me out here. Thrash,
Thrash?
there we go. They have
Yeah.
that Thrash online for potential retake. They have that from the shadows to get early information. But yeah, North Texas is playing this half almost flawlessly.
Let's see if they can end things off with a strong 93 lead, or if instead it'll just be a moderate 8-4 as B starts to be the focal point here in the early part of the round. But then Waterloo immediately running away, opts back towards that first letter of the alphabet. Castley still sitting here though, just trying to wait for a very late moment in the round to make some value, calming some rotations over. Overdrive now gonna be popped. Aldi just running through, tries to take care of the trap wire, does exactly that, swing out, but Lilac's able to find it. And so Castley's gonna try and get activated here in the late portions of this round. The rotations are coming through as well. Castley takes care of Sage, and now that rotation to B, it's gonna come through. And UNT, there is no one on that side of the map to stop it. So Waterloo, they're gonna be able to stick that plant, unless Jay has something to say about it.
Shadows
I
traveling.
love this play from Castley here. She's holding CT pretty aggressively. Like you mentioned, it is all up to Jay. Who gets the first.
what?
Does get traded out by Vav,
30
though.
seconds left.
This is going to be a free site for the University of Waterloo.
Oh,
to
spike
get
carrier.
that bomb.
I
Castley
know
is
exactly.
able to take hell down, though. Now a 1v2 for Jelly. Location has now been revealed thanks to that no theft.
Satchel out.
Bot does come out.
Spike planted.
Oh, Jelly, 1v2. Your position was known. You already satcheled all the way in, and you've taken care of Av. This is scary now. That only player remaining, super low health. Castley stuck over towards Market, running out. Cam spots you. You're so paranoid. Are you aware that the jump up was there? Oh, it didn't matter. Castley was so low, the errant body shot does it. UNT 9-3 first half.
Grenade!
What a dominant half from the University of North Texas. And, you know,
Switching
going
sides.
all the way back to the discussions we had at Agent Select, not a doubt in my mind that they would be able to play
Charges?
super coordinated, which is
Brakes?
exactly what we saw. Every player just be able to play off of their teammate so flawlessly during that half. That being said, we are going to be seeing Waterloo on the defense now, so hopefully they can turn things around and play a stronger half this time.
I think the key word for Waterloo coming into this half is stability and proactivity, right? Being able to constantly find information and play off of some of the information gathering tools that players like Vav and Castley have to better understand where these UNT players are trying to go is going to help you greatly, especially considering your comp is built for taking space.
Definitely, you know, if University of North Texas aggression on that defense half was indicative at all of how they're going to be able to take sites during this attack half, things are a little scary for the side of Waterloo. UNT, though, is opting for a little bit more of a default, which nothing crazy for Sunset, nothing crazy for Pistol Round. We are seeing Sky Dog come through, is going to spot out, feeling it in Market. Does not quite get taken down by Jay, though, on that B site.
Oh, and Jay's actually blinded up in the corner there. Has to try and hold for a second. There's the smoke. It's going to be potentially allowing for a hell cross, but they abort at the last second, just leaving Jay inserted all the way through towards B, because look at where the rotations are. The lurks have just been beautiful from UNT. They're on the A site now. They're going to be able to get this plant down for free. Waterloo's going to be in a full 5v5 retake.
Shadows traveling.
Like you mentioned, it looks like that bomb is going to be taken over to the A site. Jay in a really great position here. Is she where that Ji-Young was holding? Ji-Young able to get
Spike
that pick.
planted.
Sage also able to get a pick on Vav though, so equalizing it out to a 4v4. As Waterloo is now being forced to do a full retake here. UNT though took so much CT space. Aldi is able to take down Lilac. Gets a second onto Sage. Jelly holding down this A lane with the help of her Gecko.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, Ji-Young able to find one, and now Waterloo 1v2. Jelly has to go huge. It needs to be a 4K out. Castley on the tap, has to swing, and Jelly, it's just like the last half over again. Right click, gonna be there. It jumps, it scores. Jelly, 10-3, double digits secured for UNT.
What a fabulous round. A little bit scary, you know, came down to that 1v1 at the end, but Jelly, so confident in everything, you know, able to think so fast. I love the use of the classic right clicks there. I mean, I gotta respect that, going for that many right clicks in a row. And it looks like we're gonna be seeing something a little similar as Jelly does opt to go for a judge this round.
Yeah, I mean, listen, why bother aiming if you can just shoot more bullets than your opponent?
As we say that, Jelly does switch over to a Guardian buy. Waterloo opting to save here, not forcing, despite the 10-3 scoreline. Castley able to get an early pick onto Jay in B main. That is huge for the side of Waterloo.
Yeah. Not only just because of the weaponry, but also the fact that you're able to grab that information. With Lilac, the Cypher on the other side of things, now taking an engagement with Aldi, blinded up. Aldi takes care of the trip, and now Lilac falls as well. So Hell has to try and do some heavy lifting here, and Castley's not going to be able to find Sage. So 3-on-3 now as weapons start to get recovered, but Vav, unfortunately, going to get taken out by Jelly as well. Means it's just the Neon and the Breach, the stunning duo of Waterloo, to try and pull things across.
Jelly is one enemy down. Able to get the one out onto Aldi. All of Ji-Young flashing their dream. Gets the first onto Jelly. Does ultimately get taken out by Sage, and that is an 11th round on the board for the UC North Texas.
So,
One round closer to
Double
not
down?
only winning this
Let's
map,
talk.
potentially defending their title as Aurora Series champions.
That's true. Just one step closer, and for Waterloo, a team that was top 3 last time in Aurora Series, this would be an early exit. That would be, you know, kind of a sad one. But this timeout comes through. Waterloo still looking to fight on their map pick of Sunset. If you're Waterloo at this point, right, you lost the eco. This is your first full gun round in the half. What is your idea to try and counter UNT's kind of early showings on attack?
Personally, if I'm their coach here, I'm probably going to call for a fake lurk. You know, I think Waterloo is known for relying heavily on Castley's lurking. So, you know, throwing a fake lurk to not only catch the early aggression, but then punish said early aggression, right? Because it's going to make UNT think that it's just a lurk, but then there's 5 following up, able to trade. So, personally, that's what I would be going for. What about you, Angel?
I could see that, right? Like trying to maybe like push someone like in a deep extremity to hold. That would probably be a good idea. But I think what Waterloo really need right now is some form of a trap play, because it just feels like UNT are constantly just trying to take a ton of space out of the gate. And if you can maybe hold like a breach stun or something to try and catch some of these players off guard, that would be huge. But unfortunately, it's just gonna be frags that'll get it done. The breach stun didn't find anyone. Instead, it was Aldi to start things off. And there's the swing from Ji-Young as well. So Sage next to fall. The Dizzy not gonna find anything as it's sprayed down, and Aldi just wants to keep going. Jelly now alone, isolated on it, can only take care of Ji-Young, and Lilac 1v4. You've got a Sheriff for the shots.
feelings.
Okay, technically it's doable, right?
Cage trigger.
Oh,
Lilac able to pick up that Vandal. Does get spotted out by the Owl drone, however. It's a very scary 1v3, but like you said, still doable. She will need to try to grab this bomb here. This is kind of do or die. Just brutal smokes and cages from Waterloo.
smoke, cage, smoke, cage, smoke, cage. You're not getting through this. Well, eventually you'll have an opportunity, right? You're able to take care of Vav, but you still have a deadly crossfire to deal with. Castley's gonna fall though, and so now this is a 1v1, and you get the flick. Lilac, what is that?
Match point.
I'm at a loss for words. Definitely a bit of a misplay from Waterloo, but Lilac, phenomenal aim. We're actually seeing a timeout being called by the University of North Texas, so I'm assuming that they discussed calling a timeout prior to that round going that way. But
I don't know.
oh
That might
gosh.
just be a reactive timeout to calm the nerves. Because if I'm like Sage or if I'm Jay in that position and I just saw Lilac do that, I'm out of my chair. There's no way I'm still sitting.
Oh my gosh, just played so beautifully. I mean, and not to discredit Waterloo, because especially those opening picks from Aldi and Jiyoung were
Yeah.
huge for the round, but
I,
Lilac just able to close things out.
can we just have a moment of silence for that clutch? That was just beautiful.
Yeah, just wow. Like we've been talking about, University of North Texas did not come to play today. I mean,
No,
they are so locked in.
absolutely. Especially because it's lower bracket, right? You're like the previous winners. You want to try and repeat. At the very least, you want to make it to that land final. And so the fact that we just saw that clutch from Lilac, it shows it's not just going to be the Jelly and Jay show all the way through. Everyone else on UNT is going to have their moments, right? That was just like speechless and match point, right? They want to try and close things out here. Waterloo, this is your final stand on map number 1.
Here.
Waterloo sticking to their strategies that
Scout
they know work,
destroyed.
tried and true, as the University of North Texas is able to take all of mid here.
Yeah. But this push down A, I mean, you can catch Lilac off guard. Maybe just create an opening for yourself to really collapse on this attack. But Lilac is just good on the
I
swing.
know exactly.
Aldi's there to fall, and the Neural Theft comes out as well. Vav, you gotta run away. You don't want to get caught out here. Jiyoung's gonna run away as well. Cassie was found out, but able to take care of Jay. But Lilac's still good on those shots. That A site has been completely just torn asunder.
Spike
And
planted.
UNT just 45 seconds away from claiming map 1.
Bomb buddy out.
Waterloo set up for a retake here. Players are a little discombobulated though. They have Cassie on the lurk. They have 2 players towards CT. Another showstopper miss from Jelly. Everything okay though. Crash does come out from the side of North Texas. Babs able to take down stage. Lilac able to take down her double. Is now a
Last
2v3
player
retake from the
standing.
side of Waterloo. Becomes a 1v3. And Hell able to get the last 2 picks
Attackers
around,
win.
closing that out. And that is a dominant math 1 from the side of the University of North Texas.
13-3 is what we're sitting at coming out of map 1. I'm at a loss. That was just an absolutely insane end to that game. I thought for a second we would see Waterloo start to fight back on the defense, but that clutch from Lilac just completely obliterated any chance Waterloo had at just building some rounds into that game. And I think UNT, I kind of slept on them coming into this game. I thought they were definitely the favorites, right? But it was going to be a bit closer than 13-3. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, if we take a look at the stats from this past game, I mean, this was just brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, Waterloo, unfortunately, again, not to diss them, not to dog on them, but not a single player was able to go positive against North Texas's just dominance on this
Yeah.
map, and not a single weak link on the side of North Texas either. Like you said, it was not just the Jelly and Jay show. Every single player able to pull their weight so beautifully.
I just want to let it be known that Jelly's KD, if you do the math on that, that is 3 and a third.
Yes, 3 and a third. Just insane.
You're like averaging, and I think even in terms of the kills, you're averaging over 1 kill per round. Like Waterloo was basically playing this game at a constant 4v5, just from Jelly alone.
Yeah, I mean, I think North Texas, they knew that mechanically, every single one of these players able to hit shots. That's why they were able to take early aggression. Also, the util, again, having Sage and Hell there and able to enable Jay and Jelly to take those early fights and get those early picks. I mean, if you're Waterloo, hopefully we're going to see a bit of a switch up for the next map. But yeah, things are not looking too hot right now.
especially considering that was Waterloo's pick, right? We were talking about the fact that Waterloo, they have a solid game plan here. They love playing with those rotations around Sunset. They had like a really competent game plan. And UNT just completely shattered that. So now as we move on to Bind, that's the pick coming out from UNT. The question remains, will Waterloo be able to fight back and take us to split, or will UNT close things out and try and call things an early night? We're going to find out just after this break, so don't go anywhere. And just
Welcome
like that.
back. Oh,
Oh,
we
no,
didn't
go
discuss
ahead.
this beforehand. Our
Go ahead. You
fault.
got it. You got it.
All right, welcome back to the Aurora series. This is lower bracket round 2, do or die for these teams. We just saw brutal map 1, UNT just absolutely dominant Sunset 13-3, and that was Waterloo's map pick. So we are going to be heading into Bind soon, which is going to be UNT's map pick. Angel, you have any thoughts?
My thoughts are that Bind is really boring and ranked, but in this situation when it's full 5v5 and everyone's calming and everyone's got good communication and we're playing tactically and we're viewing the map and we're like, okay, we're gonna fake and do this rotation and we're gonna go through showers here and we're gonna do a showers crunch on defense, then things start to get cool. So I'm really gonna be excited to see what these two teams bring to the table here on Bind because of how kind of interesting that this map plays, especially now that we're starting to see a shift away from double controller, right? It's been a very long-standing kind of tradition that you run the Viper and the Brim on this map, and slowly we've seen some teams shy away from that idea. And so it's going to be interesting now coming into this map between these two teams, whether or not that is going to hold true, and we're going to see some newer kind of play styles, or if we're just going to see kind of the same old Viper Brim, run your same defensive wall through the teleporter towards showers and run your showers crunch.
Yeah, so like you're saying, Bind is going to play out very differently than Sunset. You know, Sunset is very conducive, just very typical Valorant, which we saw last game. There's a lot of defaulting, a lot of pushing out though, which was very refreshing. But Bind, you know, there's no mid, so not really too much to be done, but there's so much potential for some crazy plays with the TPs. Speaking of comps, though, it looks like we are seeing a Viper coming out from both teams, but UNT might be running a solo. Oh, no, never mind. We're seeing Brimstone as I say that.
Yeah.
They might be opting to forego a Sentinel. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, it's Viper Brim. It's
All right, Viper
it's Viper
Brim.
UNT not trolling, not doing anything silly. They're going to be running Jelly as only Yoru, which I find to be a little interesting. But then again, we're seeing Aldi Neon. So, you know, it just kind of feels like comfort picks coming into things. Something that I am interested in is Vav moving away from Initiator and on to Clove. I personally think this is a great pick for Vav.
I would agree with that. And actually, I was able to see this last night. You know, I did get to watch Waterloo on Bind run this exact comp, which is a bit of an unconventional composition because typically when you have a double controller, you just forego a Sentinel, which is kind of what we're seeing on the side of UNT here. But it's a very, very defense-heavy composition, and they are going to be starting on that defender side. So we're going to see if this choice in composition is going to pay off.
Yeah, especially considering the fact that for the side of Waterloo, I think the one advantage, right, that you're going to bring, let's kind of state the obvious, Vav no longer having to deal with all of the kind of setting up teammates with utility, can just say, I'm playing Clove, I throw my dazzle, I swing, I get kill. Everyone is happy, I frag, all of a sudden, we win round, we win game, we go to split. But there is also kind of that notion of the fact that because Ji Young is the only initiator and they're on Sky, utility is going to be super limited in terms of info. And so maybe that's why we're seeing the Cypher come out.
Yeah, so information denial is definitely going to be the name of the game for UNT here. However, going back to Waterloo's picks, what I like about all of these agents that they've chosen is that all of them are fairly self-sufficient. You know, they can all play around their own kits pretty independently. So I think that that's something really interesting to see, especially in the context of something like this where it's an organized match with, like you mentioned, 5v5, everyone calming. But as we're heading into this first round, University of North Texas taking some early aggression towards that B-Long. Are they aware that they're running into a Cypher and a Viper on this site, though?
I think they might be aware of the Viper at least, considering the toxic screen is up, but Castley's utility still remaining a bit of a mystery here. Lilac's just perched outside of showers because you have Ji Young and Aldi just sitting there jiggling back and forth. Eventually some shots being taken. Feeling it. Castley holding the crossfire here. The toxic orb goes up and Aldi able to find that opener. All but clears out this A side and Castley now gets things started and feeling it in the corner. Takes care of two. And now Hell 1v5. Sheriff Ace potentially? Thoughts?
I believe.
Okay. If you believe...
Trailblazer gets taken down. Spam happens through that Brim smoke. Hell being pushed a little further back into Elbow as Waterloo walks out onto the B site.
Okay. Yep, there's the double jiggle. Vav and Ji Young take care of it. Considering how the last map went, I feel like a flawless pistol was due for Waterloo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure mentally they needed that, but also phenomenal defense, especially from feeling it in Castley. And both these players were just able to lock down that B site with all of their stalling utility, and it looks like University of North Texas has learned their lesson as they're holding the bomb towards A short already pre-round.
Yeah, but the other thing is, you know, sure, you don't have to deal with the kind of double defensive player setup, but you still have to deal with the majority of Waterloo, right? And the fact that the vast majority of them are leaning towards this showers area, Aldi already sitting here just jump spotting with an Ares in hand to spam through some corners potentially. I mean, this Clove fight Vav is going to have to go huge. Oh, only finds one. Immediately, the trade is there, and so now you have Aldi and Ji Young on a bit of an island. Lilac just spamming through here. There's the slide, though. Aldi takes care of it. 3v4. Plant goes in.
Waterloo left to retake. Jay does have a gun here, holding a very aggressive off angle from CT. And this off angle finds some value, though.
No.
Feeling it, able to take her out, though. Sky Flash comes through from showers as Aldi just slides most down with an Ares. Hell gets one, gets the second. Not quite able to close the round as Castley takes Hell's head off, and that is a second round on the board for Waterloo.
Okay, I feel like we got the order of these rounds backwards, Waterloo. You know, glad that you took the round in the first place, but, you know, between the two, would you rather have a flawless pistol or a flawless anti-eco? I know my answer, and I think the economy knows their answer as well, because Waterloo, pretty tough spot now, only carrying over 2 of these weapons. It's going to be pistols, maybe 1 stinger for the rest of these players.
Yeah, we're not seeing that NA buy that we did see from Texas last map. But speaking of Texas, 5 rifles across the board, only 1 player at light shields. Economically, they're in a really great place. It looks like they're going for a pretty standard A split here. Aldi does get very aggressive in showers.
That was the clone. Bait still going to be held. Jelly position not found just yet. Anti-flash is good. There's the shot to find one. Plus the wall as well. Able to get out of there. Do you pick up the Vandal? No, not yet. Instead, it's going to have to be Vav, but the timing here as well. Oh, this gets a little scary, but you're able to take care of Jay, but there's the trade from Lilac. And so that A site, it's completely open. You have the numbers. You're going to have the plant as well. UNT pitched up to take their first round.
It's going to be a really rough retake if you're Waterloo. You only have that Cypher and that Viper left alive, neither of which have great util for retaking. UNT opting to play on-site. Sage gets her head taken off, though, by feeling it with that Bulldog. Castley works her way into U-Haul with her teammate. Lilac holding this. That's both of them, though.
That's beautiful from Lilac. 3K. But, you know, you talk about closeness of rounds. I felt like that round was closer than the anti-eco, and for Waterloo, that's perfect, because now you look at Texas's buy coming into this. I mean, 3 of their players are buying down to bits here.
Definitely. I think that Waterloo is in a really great place right now, so this is going to be a really key round, because if Waterloo is able to secure this round, not only is that going to put the economy of University of North Texas in shambles, but it's also going to help them get that momentum going that they were lacking on map 1.
Aldi back to showers, able to find the opener, but the swings are coming through, but Aldi's still able to find the frags. So UNT now 3v5. Castley has made the pivot already over towards this A site. That's 4 Waterloo players sitting here as the 3 remaining North Texas players have to try and claw their way back in. First order of business is to grab the spike. Lilac has already found their way onto the site, just holding for this U-Haul hit. As Hell is just holding the front of the site here. UNT playing things super slow right now in the mid-round.
Flash coming out from Hell. We're seeing That KO knife come out as well as Jay is able to get this bomb down. University of Waterloo. They've all already made it onto the site aside from their flanker. So it looks like they're waiting on this flanker to begin their retake. Ghastly gets taken down by
Player
Lilac.
standing.
Oh. Now Lilac 1v4. You found Aldi, but there's still 3 more to get. Vav gonna just start to stick, and the ace clutch. It could be there, but Vav shuts it down last minute. Waterloo, they're back to winning ways, and this is what we were expecting from them out on Sunset.
Great round, Lilac. Commendable effort. So close. On the bright side, though, Lilac will be able to afford a rifle, potentially. It looks like we're seeing some discussions on the buys coming out from the side of UNT. Waterloo, though, looks like their eco is not in the best spot either, actually. We're seeing Aldi's going to be ripping that overdrive, potentially. We're seeing 2 Bulldogs, so I think that this round is going to play out very interestingly in terms of gun buys.
Well, considering that info's already been traded over towards Showers, Aldi's just going to start to take a peek here. Jelly, though, with the Sheriff, calls that out immediately. And so you can see Waterloo just trying to back up by a little bit of space, but the wrap from short was already there. Vav is gone. Ji-Young gonna have to try and do the most in Showers. It's not gonna be anything found. Aldi's already at 3 HP. And so, you know, you found your way all the way through here. By spamming that overdrive, your position's been known. Lilac takes you out. And Waterloo potentially on the verge of being thrifty here.
Hell does get sprayed down a little bit by Feeling It, and Hell's actually able to catch Feeling It. Castley takes Hell down, though, avenging her teammate. I've seen this before. It's Castley in a 1v3, 1 HP. Oh, the timing, and Lilac is able to take Castley down. And that is a second round on the board for UNT.
You know, significantly lower lead than we saw from map number 1, right? Where the defense went on that 6-1 run. Not going to happen this time. It's 3-2 UNT with that thrifty round, able to bring things back into a much more even game. And so now the onus is going to be on Waterloo. Someone on this team is going to need to make a play with one of these lower weapons to really find a way in. But you can see UNT finally showing a different look to this attacking half and opting towards B.
Said opting towards B, Feeling It just playing off of her Cypher's trip, you know, with that classic. Sage barely misses the Cypher trip with that Sky Dog.
Lilac still hovering over towards Showers, takes care of Aldi, but the trade from Ji-Young is good, so, you know, 1-for-1, even numbers. Jelly with this gate crash all the way over towards the attacker spawn will be joined in alongside Jay. So it's now the Jelly J show. What can they find? Ji-Young first up to bat here. The swing out of the smoke was only good. 1-for-1. Vav with the frenzy keeps numbers in check. And so this UNT offense, as Castley lurks up through long, takes care of Hell. It's now 2v3, and Sage, the spray's a little messy. Oh no! Is it gonna be back-to-back thrifties, Jay? Say it ain't so.
Castley making her way into hookah here.
30
ready
seconds
for
left.
Jay. Cypher trip does get taken down. Castley gets her head taken off, though. Now a 1v2. Bomb is down on site. Waterloo is split up. Is Jay aware that Vav is lurking up through hookah, though?
Oh no. You have to hope that your teammate and Feeling It will live long enough, and hey, who needs to live when you can just find the kill? And the announcer said it before I could. Thrifty round coming out from Waterloo. Back-to-back ecos keeps the lead at 2, favoring Waterloo.
Something interesting I would like to point out is that we are now halfway through this first half, and I don't believe we've seen a true full buy round from both teams thus far.
I think round 4.
Round 4?
Yeah, because that was when everyone had Vandals, and then because UNT was like their first buy of the half, and Waterloo didn't NA buy.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. But now the second, right, we're coming into round number 7 here, and It's the trap wires to be discovered, so the Cypher Viper setup gonna have to ring true again, and Lilac being the lurker this time. It's this double hookah hold, feeling it, takes care of things to start things out for Waterloo, and that's that player advantage secured, plus a ton of ultimates that can be used on the retake.
Spike planted.
Does get planted down. UNT in a pretty good post-plant position here, all opting to play on site aside from Jay. Waiting to see if there's a flank there. Does catch Castley. It's now a 4v4. Numbers have been equalized. Waterloo pops the Sky Seekers from CT. Kicking off this retake. Sage does shoot the Seekers out. Gets hit by that relay bolt. Close metal. Sky Flash.
Oh my
that's
god!
bad.
Just all the utility, but the frags go the same way. Everyone on the server is just falling back and forth. Vav, though, not dead yet. Gonna have to be used. How much can you find? It's both! Just completely shuts down the deny attempt. And Uwu, University of Waterloo, find a fifth.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a timeout getting called soon here from the side of North Texas, but they're going to be forced onto a save round yet again. I mean, I feel like every round, aside from that one round, we've seen at least one team saving. So hopefully they can convert this into a thrifty, start to get some momentum back. But Waterloo is looking great. And I mean, I think going back to their comp, talking about how all their players can kind of play independently, I think we're seeing that every player is holding their weight right now. Every player not only able to play off their own utility, but also playing off their teammates' utility.
Just getting back all of a sudden. Runs all the way back towards the back of B. Playing very safe. As UNT, I mean, it just looks to be
I've got your trail.
5-player execute. How much can you hold for? How long can you hold for? The answer is, at the very least, you find the first onto Jelly.
A lot of utility getting the best from UNT. Sage able to take off Phil and its head though with that Sheriff. Second flash comes out. UNT capitalizing off of that pick onto Phil and take the site. Vav gets Sage though. 4v3 Vav gets a second onto Jay.
One
Now joined
enemy
by
remaining.
teammates. Aldi on the swing goes 1 for 1. Now Hell 1v3. Cassidy's teleported over. You don't have the spike. You got 40 seconds. If you can take out the Cypher, that's at least something. That's a gun in your hands. And oh, hold on, wait a minute. Thinking about this now, this is absolutely doable. If you wrap all the way around
30
long,
seconds left.
isolate Ji-Young.
Young and Vav holding this cross here. Can Hell isolate these 1v1s though?
You definitely could. Stuck in this corner here. You try and spam it out, but
One enemy
unfortunately the
remaining.
results are no good. You thought you cleared it. And there's the 1 for 1. Ji-Young off the swing, takes care of things, trades it out, and now we're back to familiar score lines.
There's that timeout that we were talking about before. So University of North Texas looks like they have some things to discuss, which I don't blame them. I mean, you just won map 1 13-3, and on top of that, a flawless second half of map 1 at that, and now you're down 2-6. I mean, Angel, if you are calling this timeout, what are you talking about?
If I'm on the attack, I'm calling this timeout. The big thing that UNT have as terms of a weakness when it comes to this attacking half is the lack of any sort of dive movement, right? That you see so commonly when you have a Razor and Neon on this map. Being able to, for lack of a better word, breach those sites and move all the way into the back of the site in a blink of an eye is huge, especially when it comes to creating space for your team to really find their way out of those tight choke points. So what do you have to use instead? You have to use this Jelly Gate Crash to do a similar thing, right? Maybe try and play around with that significantly more when it comes to these executes, or just overall playing with these rotations significantly more. We've seen a lot of just 5-player A, 5-player B, and that can only get you so far when it comes to the attacking side of Bind.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I do want to touch base real quick because a team that I was formerly playing on used to run, I believe, this exact comp on Bind, and the reason it worked so well was because they were not doing 5-man rush all the time. It was a lot of defaulting, which it looks like we might be seeing that right now from UNT, actually, as we're seeing a little bit of a split here. Some players pushing towards Hookah, some players pushing towards short. A lot of util being invested by UNT very early on here, though, as they're trying to sniff out feeling it. Hey O'Malley does not quite though. Aldi, though. That's two.
Huge timing. That's incredible. And, you know, sure, Castley falls in the meantime, but that's still a 3v4 secured. And Jay can try and fight things back, but Aldi just goes nuclear. Finds 4, trying to get 5, but just decides to play a little bit more disciplined. Just keeps backing up off these angles. Hell, if you can find anything here, that would be a blessing, but Aldi just makes things even harder. The game of cat and mouse continues for the side of Waterloo.
Aldi potentially on for an ace here. Choosing to play off of her teammates, though. Does not want to throw the round. Does not want to bring it to a 2v1 to be selfish. Hell, does not have any util to use here. She is now just sitting in showers holding this bomb. Not quite enough time to rotate either, so she's going to have to commit to this if she plans on winning the round.
Hell on the swing. Position known, 14 seconds. Just try and go for some frags here. You take care of feeling it, but Vav there on the close. No ace, just a 4K. Aldi still the reason that Waterloo find a 7th.
I want to give a huge shout out to Aldi here because, you know, I think that so many players would be in that opportunity and would have just swung hell trying to get that ace, but Aldi said, nope. I'm gonna lock in, gonna play with my teammates, securing the round my #1 priority, I'm gonna put my pride aside, and it worked out beautifully, and like you said, Vav was able to close that round out. Things did get a little bit scary there when Hell was able to get that first pick, bringing it to a 1v2, which is much more winnable than a 1v3. But as we're heading into this next round, it looks like we're seeing a similar start of the round from UNC. That bomb is just kind of sitting pretty deep towards T side. A lot of util being baited out from feeling it here. Molly already getting invested within the first 15 seconds of the round.
Look at where Jay has been able to find, right? All the way in U-Haul here with that judge. It's going to cause absolute chaos on a retake attempt here from Waterloo, or could just cause chaos in the back of the site as the K hit comes through. But as this showers control is yet to be garnered, Aldi and Sage have only traded 1 for 1, so potentially trying to move some rotations around. Hell finds Vav, and now that Jelly's found feeling it as well, it's that B site hit that's going to come through. The plant as well looking to fall in the next, couple dozen seconds as rotations need to be met.
Now, interestingly, that bomb is pretty late to get to the B site, so this is going to give University of Waterloo some time to kind of recuperate here. Castley does spot the players, does swing right into Jelly, and it's now all up to Aldi, the star duelist here, who does get taken down by Jelly. That's a 3rd round on the board for UNC, and finally breaking some of Waterloo's momentum during this map.
Here is thin.
Yeah, Aldi got that 4K, and Jelly said, hold on. A 4K might be a little bit tough right now, but I can still get multi-kills like it's nobody's business, right? A little bit quieter than map 1, but still finds a moment to shine here, brings UNT to a 3rd, and with the way that the momentum's headed, you look at the economy, Aldi's on a Spectre, a Judge in the hands of feeling it, there's only an overdrive available in terms of ultimates. UNT could be a layup for 4.
Speaking of UNT, starting the round off the same again. That bomb in a safe spot. Players defaulting, looking to bait out some util. Feeling it, able to get Jelly, does not get killed by the clone. Overdrive comes out and gets 2 onto Sage and Lilac.
The trade from Hell is there, and Jay catches the overextending Aldi out.
Got the spike.
And now it's that 2v3, and these are those 2 power ultimates that UNT had coming into the round. Now the last 2 players alive, so Null Command could be used by Hell here to try and make a play. Orbital Strike as well to clear out some space. And Castley both here in the back of his own site. Jiyoung baited out that Orbital Strike perfectly, but Castley takes care of Jay, and now Hell 1 versus 3. The health, it favors you a little bit, but the numbers significantly less so.
Love this positioning from Hell here. Does get taken down by Castley, though. 8th round on the board for the University of Waterloo.
Last round in the half.
Now these ultimates, you lose that Orbital Strike, but at the very least, You have the Dimensional Drift from Jelly. You have the Null Command from Hell. And I want to give credit to this Null Command. I want to see it get used because Hell's already been doing phenomenal for the UNT side. And the fact that you can pop that Null Command and then get a chance at a second life in the round is huge. So you really want to try and see that come through for UNT because you don't want a 9-3 half, especially considering if the last map can show anything, it's that a 9-3 half is still just as strong.
Down.
Oh.
Feeling it, able to mow Jay down through her own smoke. Holding down that hookah. It'll be a little rough for UNT as they're already down one. In 20 seconds of the round. Dimensional Drift does come out. Spots out feeling it. Jelly able to get a lot of valuable information for her team. Does also spot out Lav. Whoa.
Oh, the spray betrays Jelly and Aldi finds Lilac as well. Hell, I mean, you can at least find the first, but you've got so many more to find, and Aldi has not moved from this position. Alongside Ji-Young, these two players, they're stuck in, and they mow you down. Talk about strong halves. 9-3. We saw what it did the first map for UNT. Now let's see if they can come back from the deficit.
This feels like I'm watching an entirely different team from Waterloo. I love this out of Waterloo.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, seeing how all of these players, again, not only able to play off their own utility, but able to play off each other. I love this coordination we're seeing, and I'm hoping that it continues into this half and they're able to finish this map out strong because it really feels like a switch flipped, you know? They remembered what's at stake here. Going to finals or getting sent home, so we're either going to see UNT lock in here, to see Waterloo run away with this lead.
I mean, if the first map tells us anything, it would be that UNT have a fair bit of structure, especially on this defensive side. So we'll see potentially what that defense specifically will entail here, as immediately this play in teleporter towards B I find to be quite interesting, but Waterloo just looking to run it up B long. That's immediately Hell to fall. Opening pick gone the way of Vav. Jelly, good response, and Jay over here towards Hookah. Also able to find one, so Waterloo, player deficit, 3v4 post-plant.
UNT
One
being
enemy
forced
remaining.
They able to get two. That's a third. Fastest retake I've ever seen in my life. Sage able to just get 2 picks on that retake, and that's going to be a pistol round for the side of University of North Texas.
Wasn't flawless. I'm trying to build copium here for map 3, okay? Waterloo, it's a bit tough. They should be able to, in this round, just look to try and do damage, right? The fact that they got the plant in the first place does give them a little bit of extra money to work with here, so potentially some utility to be bought into this round. But for UNT, the name of the game, keeping things clean, right? Making sure that you can carry as many of these guns as possible into round number 3, so you can really cripple the Waterloo economy. Especially considering you were down 9-3 coming into the half. If you can potentially build, you know, like a 3-1 lead here, that's really going to cut the room that Waterloo have to work with down significantly.
Definitely. Winning not only that pistol round, but also potentially winning this next round is going to be huge if you are the side of North Texas. Does look like Waterloo is playing a bit more conservatively here. They're all grouped up aside from their lone lurker of Castley. Jay holding down the showers line with what I believe is an outlaw or a marshal. L just mowing down short. Not quite able to connect their bullets onto anyone though. Flash does come out. Relay bolt comes out. We're seeing just all out utility being thrown by U-Haul.
Jay both around, able to take care of Castley, and so as Hell just gets to sit here with this Ares, tries to get some spam done. The crosses were good though, and so as you run away, you try to reload, you can't find anything. It's Jelly with the Spectre to get that kill instead, but there's chaos in the back of the site as Lilac capitalizes for 3, and now Aldi, 1v4, you found Jelly, but you can't find any more than that. It's UNT, again, able to take a pretty clean anti-eco here. 3 alive to find 5.
Great round, and also real quick, Aldi, I don't know how your right clicks do that. I wish my classic was doing that too, because all series, my goodness, this has been a demon with that classic.
Is that the method? Just get really good right clicks?
I think so. I mean, we've just been seeing some demonic plays come out from Aldi with that right click, but ultimately that round did go to the side of North Texas. They're now going to have to try to convert this round in their favor. Getting that ult orb pretty early on as Jay is worked up in that pocket of short with a Bucky.
Oh, this is a little terrifying for the side of Waterloo. If you're not careful, if you don't clear out that corner, you're going to run face first into a Bucky, and we saw the damage that Feelin' It was able to do with this exact gun in the last half. So, as Waterloo now going to start to peek their way through this smoke on the fade, Jay, the shotgun's going to be tested. Oh, what?
Remaining.
4?
Down A.
That's unreasonable! Now, a 1v5 is just not happening. What did I just witness?
I'm speechless. I wish that the audience could see caster cams. My jaw is on the floor right now. Oh my gosh, Jay. What in the world?
What do you even say to that? Like, that's just crippling for Waterloo, because now you're down to another eco. It's giving Texas another opportunity to build their economy, and you're in a position where this lead is really going to start thinning away here. So you have to try and make a power play with these stingers, but that's just it. It's stingers, and Hell is just posted up here with this outlaw.
Love the discipline from Hell there, waiting to see if someone would peek off of that Skydog. Fell back ultimately. Lilac holding down Hookah. Gonna run into her double. Bullets not quite connecting.
This A space from UNT is huge, and now that the lurk has been found from Castley, Waterloo kind of locked in to going B here. And Lilac's still going to be able to hold alongside their teammate in Hell, tucked in towards that cover.
Well, able to get a pick onto Vav. That's taken down by Aldi's Stinger though.
One enemy remaining.
Aldi on the overdrive finds the first, looking for a second as well. Can't find it though. It's Sage to get that pick. And UNT still on winning ways, having an undefeated defensive streak right now.
Looks like we are seeing a timeout getting called by the University of Waterloo. Like you had said, they've been undefeated so far this entire half, so things are probably looking a little bit scary for Waterloo, as that once massive gap you had in terms of round differential slowly thinning out. Only a 2-round gap between these two teams.
And that's the scary thing about this, is now Waterloo, they have no room to work with. There's no more, oh, well, it's okay that they lost pistol because there's still a 5-round lead. It's okay if they lost that 3rd round. They still have a good lead, right? All that's gone. Now we're back to crunch time. The game is back to being close. And what we've seen from UNT is like a night and day switch compared to what they were looking like on the attack to where they're at on the defense. It's back to this slow, kind of measured aggression that's coming out in the start of these rounds to take a ton of this space. And Waterloo can't really find an answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we saw that aggression from UNT's defense last map, but what I find interesting is that, to me, comparing Waterloo to UNT, it looks like UNT has a little bit of a better grasp on how to work Bind specifically. You know, Bind has so much potential, especially with the teleport stuff, and UNT taking advantage of everything, like we're seeing with that Sky Flash immediately out of the teleport. We're seeing some variation in the setups of the Vipers and the Sniper here.
Jelly just holds. There's a fight to take place in Hookah. Hell takes care of Castley, but the Dazzle goes through as well, so this KO has to back up for a little while, and because of that off miss as well, it has to be a backup from Jelly. So Jay's able to trade out 1 for 1, but Feelin' It still, being this anchor, refusing to move, will eventually fall to the hands of Jay, and Lilac in showers. You find the first. A second needs to be secured though before the round gets called quits. And Aldi 1v3, you find the first. There's still 2 more to grab though, and the run in towards the back of the site. You get caught down, and Jay secures it. and brings that lead to almost nothing. It's 8-9.
Good effort from Aldi. Unfortunately, she just wasn't quite able to connect those shots towards CT, but yeah, tough round if you're Waterloo, as they're now going to be forced onto a save, and that's potentially going to bring the rounds back up to 9-9, going to completely eliminate any lead that they might have had if they can't convert this Thrifty.
Yeah, you have to, right? Otherwise, you're 9-9. UNT, their economy, they're basically going to be able to secure a bye for the rest of the half. So
There.
you have to hope you can get something done.
Toxin screen down.
Lilac still looking to explore towards showers, holding this double swing, still feeling it gets caught out. And so now that you're sitting here alongside Sage, you're going to get a rotation by the name of Jelly in as well with that off. This is a tough site to hit, but you're going to try and commit to it anyways. You're in U-Haul already. Sage being forced all the way back here, giving way to that utility. Lilac gets caught out though, so that's a good opener. Neural Theft goes down as well. These players are known, and you can see that flank already coming through. Jelly and Sage trying to work their way through. Castley doesn't get cleared though, and that Phantom can really start to go to work, especially now that Aldi's taking care of Jay. Jelly gonna try and retake here with Hell in that 2v4. They have to try and get something done here. U-Haul looking to be taken, but the timings just give way for Waterloo to find it all. A Thrifty to come through. We asked for it from Waterloo, and they delivered, and they get double digits as a reward.
I love the shift we've seen from Waterloo since they've called this timeout. You know, I feel like we're seeing some confidence. You know, maybe they were talking about getting their mental back up. I'm sure that losing that many rounds in a row did not have been great for them mentally, so love seeing a little bit more confidence from them. I am curious to see how this round in particular is going to play out, though, just because UNT does still have that Viper's Pit and that Brim ultimate online, which both of those ults are very powerful on the defense. Right. So it looks like we might be seeing those get thrown down this round.
The question for Waterloo is what else? What else can you find? And the answer is, to start, at the very least, a one-for-one trade, but feeling it on the re-swing to take care of Sage here, that completely opens up this Sage site. And sure, you're going to be able to re-clear that if you're UNT, but it's off the back of that orbital strike. So now as these rotations start to come through, it's Waterloo still with that player advantage, 4 versus 2 specifically on A, 4 versus 3 overall. It's a fragment grenade, not going to be able to find anything. Spike's still going to be planted by Ji-Young as Hell and Jay can only spray their way into this smoke. And nothing more. Ji-Young can't find Jay though. The wide swing is good. And now there's a way back in. This is starting to get real close. 3-on-3. Viper's Pit's still online, sure, but there's a lot more work to do if you're Waterloo, and the trade is only 1-for-1, but Vav and Aldi making sure to keep things in check. Hell 1v2. No one's overstepping their bounds just yet, and as time continues to tick away, Hell, there's only so much you can find, and Aldi secures it, locks it in. Waterloo gonna keep this round on with 2 alive.
It's gonna be 11-8 for Waterloo, now able to win 2 in a row. Unfortunately for them, UNT's economy was able to spiral quite a bit during that earlier part of the half. Jelly opting to buy yet another operator, rather than buying a rifle for one of their teammates, as Lilac is going to be forced onto a Stinger for this round.
I don't mind that, because Lilac's going to just pop that Viper's Pit right over towards short, throw it down immediately. Going to find potentially a ton of value here, because, hey, that's a close-range weapon. You're going to be taking close-range fights, and you're just gonna have opponents on low health. And the fact that Jay finds an opening too towards showers is huge, because now Waterloo's offense has been completely crippled.
Absolutely. Waterloo slowing things down, regrouping towards that short. UNT, though, not getting overzealous here. We have our 2 players doubled up in showers. We still have our B anchors with that operator, with that rifle on site. We have Lilac holding down that Viper's Pit, so it looks like University of Waterloo is hoping that maybe someone from the side of UNT will overextend, give them an opening pick, make a mistake. They're just sniffing out for a hole in this impenetrable defense.
One suppressed.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Aldi's location been detected. The Sky Flash heard as well. Hell just going to be able to sit here, spraying through that wall. Does good damage, but nothing more. There's the run out onto the site. Going to come through here. The flash was good for a minute, but with that pop of the null command, you have to cancel this if you're Waterloo. You have to go back towards this Viper who's just been sitting short this entire time. You have no other choice, and Lilac is going to find so much here.
Disgusting shot from Lilac, getting hit by that relay ball, but ultimately able to take out Aldi. Young taking Lilac down. Jay getting the last of the round. That's a 4K on the board for Jay. The 9th round on the board for University of North Texas.
Now, I don't want to say this, because this would be a little crazy, but UNT might take this to overtime. Waterloo, you know, you won those last 2 in a row, and they were pretty clean, so you're going to be able to buy up rifles here, but this UNT economy has just been so stable. Jelly basically has had an op the last, like, 5 rounds. It didn't matter what the economy looked like or who won the last round. It's always been this Jelly op through, and the fact that this spray still works for Jay to find the opener is insane.
It's just so beautifully played by Shams. I love how UNT just is not afraid to back down. They do everything with such confidence. It's just immaculate. We are seeing that operator posted by U-Haul this time. Obviously getting blocked off by that Viper wall. Sage able to take down Aldi. Finds Ji-Young. Jay able to trade out Ji-Young. It is now a 2v5 inside of Waterloo as Castley spots out Lilac. Runs away. Jelly's op shot not quite able to hit Field It, but it does spot Field It out at the very least for some info.
Yeah, it's not only some info, that's kind of huge, right? The fact that you know
Last
where one of
player
those 2 players
standing.
is.
Spike here.
Jay can just
down
pick up
A.
Feeling It. And now Castley. I feel like unlikely is a bit of an understatement here. 1v5.
If anyone can do it, it's Castley.
That's true. Captain of Waterloo.
30 seconds left.
But,
Does look like
I think
she's
we know.
saving.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we know where this round is headed. It's to Saveville. So we've got 30 seconds to kind of discuss. Waterloo's in a pretty tough spot, right? Because it's back to a 1-round lead. Economically, they're not going to be doing too hot. Like,
10 seconds
what
left.
do you do here?
This is a pretty tough spot, and that round differential, yet again, being taken out to only 1 round difference, double digits for UNT, 11 and 10, neck and neck game. I think your overtime prediction might ring true, Angel.
I can't see them yet.
Well, it might not if Waterloo can't find another round here. You know, that's, I think, the first concern for the overtime prediction. But if there is any way to do it, it's probably going to be off the back of this, you know, kind of force buy situation that Waterloo's doing, right? Aldi does have the overdrive available. You could see that, especially over towards an extremity like Showers or Long, to maybe close some distance. If Aldi can find an opening with this overdrive, then Waterloo is going to be in a nice position.
Waterloo working that bomb towards Daffy Long. Not going to run into much Cypher utility there this time. Jelly does get spotted out by that Sky Flash, by that Guiding Light. Casley's already working towards Long, spots out Hell, who falls back onto the backside of B.
Too suppressed.
That's huge. You find both the Viper and the Cypher here. So for UNT, as that spam from Hell tries to grab some form of damage, it's really only, I think, a single tag done. And this default from Waterloo, it's kind of being discovered. You can see where all of these players have kind of spread themselves out on the map. And this op hold from Jelly, it's still so deep in Showers. Waterloo really haven't made any ground here.
Speaking of this op hold, it looks like we might be seeing that get sniffed out. Jelly does fall back, repeaks though, but op is enough to scare Waterloo away. As they now work their way towards the B site, meeting up with the rest of their team.
30 seconds left.
30 seconds left on the board, still plenty of time to work with. Feeling It able to take down Sage. Hell avenges her teammate, gets Feeling It as well. Dab does take down Hell. It's now a 3v3 scenario. Orbital Strike comes out to delay that plant. That's going to take it to about 10 seconds left for Waterloo to get the bomb down on the site.
Lilac
10 seconds
over
left.
towards Hookah. Are you able to take out Vav? The answer is no. The plant's gonna go down, and Ji Young takes care of you. So now 2v3. Jelly still with this off. Has to rely on the J Vandal to get things started. And they found their way out onto the site. There's this rewrap, though, through elbow. Both of these players, both Aldi and Vav, looking to try and play from this angle. Long gonna be investigated first, but the swing, it has to be there. Jelly with that off, able to go 1-for-1, but the stick from Jay doesn't matter. Aldi goes huge for the 2K, and match point, I asked about it. Waterloo can confirm it at the very least. It's overtime. And Jelly still has an off.
Jelly does still have an op, yes, so don't count UNT out yet. We still have that operator online. I do want to point out real quick, Aldi and Jay are both set to potentially hit 30 here, which that in and of itself is an achievement, but also just looking at their deaths, both of them would have a KD if they hit 30 of about 2, which is just
insane.
Yeah, really just, it shows just this high level play that we're witnessing, like just how incredible these players are. Not even just mechanically, but just, that is an insane scoreline to have, especially at this high level of play. We are seeing Waterloo investing a lot of utility towards that B site. All their players there, not leaving any lurkers. Looks like UNT is privy to. They did push up into short a bit. Vav gets something back into Lilac. L able to prevent her teammate taking down Castley and Vav before ultimately getting taken down by Feeling It.
But the immediate rotation there through the teleporter from Jay. Gonna try and spam out one of these players, make things a UNT advantage here, but that's not gonna come to be. Instead, it's gonna have to be the dimensional drift from Jelly to get things started in terms of the retake. But with Sage being pushed off for the time being, and Aldi taking care of you, now this 2v3 now becomes a 2v1 as the trades come through. Jelly off, 1v2. You have to try and find a Vandal here, or you have to really hope that your fights are isolated. There's the decoy, it comes through, it flashes. But there's still more to be done. You jump over and you're able to find the first. Oh, this is doable. You can get this done, but the right click isn't going to be found. It's Feeling It's classic instead to get it done. Waterloo, take us to map 3.
What an exciting map, too. I mean, especially very refreshing from map 1, but my goodness, Waterloo locked in.
Yeah. Locked in is like an understatement for what we just witnessed. Comparing the fact that we went from 13-3 on map number 1 to now 13-10 with Waterloo completely turning things around and winning is huge. And just to look at these stats, just to talk about this, the fact that we see Aldi go absolutely nuclear, you know, we already saw them be the team MVP on map number 1. But this scoreline, 29-16, beautiful. Exactly what you want to see out of your duelist.
Definitely. And I mean, also, let's talk about first bloods here. 5 first bloods. I mean,
insane.
Really, Aldi, indisputably the MVP of that entire map.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to give credit to is also Vav, right? Being kind of, obviously not second in ACS, but second in terms of KD, right? 16-16. The fact that you have someone else who can be a little bit more active and, you know, take a kind of a more individual responsibility that the Clove can provide is huge for this team. And it showed that, yes, Aldi was doing the vast majority of the work in terms of the fragging department, but there was still someone else to provide some backup. And we even saw in some of those later rounds when Aldi and Vav were both alive, it wasn't Aldi always being the one to take that first kind of engagement. Their Vav was also, you know, taking that opportunity to try and almost bait for Aldi.
Definitely. And I mean, even just talking about the other players, though, on Waterloo, Feeling It and Castley just able to lock down that B site, lock down Hookah on defense. I mean, that was huge for helping Waterloo get those initial picks during that first half. I mean, really just phenomenal work from all these players on both teams. But Waterloo, I loved seeing this turnaround. I loved seeing, you know, how they were able to switch things over and they were able to lock in for map 1.
Yeah, and you know, I think the other question that now we're going to have coming into Split is, does UNT recover? Because from Jelly, I mean, map 1 compared to map 2, night and day difference. And so you really want to hope, if you are rooting for UNT here, that they do have an opportunity to turn things around, right? Maybe it's just a mental reset thing. Maybe it's hopefully the fact that Split is more of a Rays map, and so we're going to see Jelly move back to the Rays. So many questions are going to be flying at us as we head towards map 3. But first, we got to go to a quick break, give these players a little bit of time to rest, because it's a long series. We've still got one more map, so don't go anywhere. Map 3, Split. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Aurora series. My name is Lil Huff, and I'm joined here by the lovely Ancient Angel. And
Thank you.
we are in the second round of the lower brackets of playoffs here. University of North Texas are defending champions versus the University of Waterloo. We are headed into map 3 after a very, very neck and neck map 2 of Bind 10-13 scoreline. I mean, could not get closer than that. So as we head into this third map of Split, Angel, do you have any thoughts or predictions?
Okay, Split is kind of weird because with Sunset, I had a whole season to work on, right? With Bind, I had a whole season of regular group stage play to work on for both of these teams. We haven't seen Split. This is completely new territory, and that's going to be really interesting coming into this. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that for the side of UNT, we see Jelly back on this raise. Because I think that's where Jelly has shined the most, is on those more traditional dive duelists. And I'm hoping that that kind of increase in performance will lead to an overall more solid UNT system. And for the side of Waterloo, I actually want to see something a bit less conventional. I think that's where they find a lot of their strong suits, is in their kind of off-meta picks and their ability to just play together in really weird situations. And so if they can create that by, maybe moving over to a Sage or opting for a Killjoy instead of just running like what we would consider to be the standard of like the Astra, the Cypher, the Raze, right? Like play some things that are a bit unconventional, that might lead them to success here.
I would agree. I do think that unconventional picks are kind of where Waterloo does best, being able to kind of ruffle the feathers of their opponents a little bit with some unconventional strategies. I am curious to see, though, if we're going to be seeing, again, double initiators versus double smokes. I know double initiator meta has kind of been prevalent lately, but, sometimes we'll see Vipers on Split along with an Omen or an Astra, and it, as I say that, it looks like we are feeling it back on that Viper. And did I see Aldi hovering a Sage for a second?
Surely not. Aldi Sage, no duelist? That'd be a little crazy. Maybe Vav goes to the Sage instead. But interesting comp coming out from Waterloo, I think, assuming that we end up seeing the Vav Sage. But shifting focus for a second. UNT, Jelly's on the Yoru still. I'll talk about that later. We're seeing the Gecko Sky. This is like almost the exact same comp as the one they ran on Bind. It's just you're replacing the Viper Brim with the Astra Cypher.
Yeah, and then going back to the side of Waterloo, Vav hovering Clove, which could be a little interesting.
So this is just the Bind comp.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting Bind Part 2 over here.
This is Bind, but we added mid. is what this is about to be. If that's the case, I'm going to be really interested to see what Castley can get done here. Because I feel like this would be a really good opportunity for Castley to find a lot more value on some of those lurks that you tried seeing get done on Sunset, but wasn't really possible. Well, on Split, lurks are a lot easier. So hopefully we're going to see, a bit more activity from Castley in those mid rounds.
Yeah, what I am really curious about, though, is just because, like we talked about in Sunset, Castley did get punished very heavily for lurks, which, Waterloo does rely on Castley to kind of open things up with lurks pretty often. So I am curious to see what this is going to look like, Will they still keep sending Castley on these lurks? Is University of North Texas going to be able to punish her again? Or are we going to see a completely different playstyle from these teams here? Like you mentioned, Split is just newly added into not only the Valorant map pool in competitive, but more recently into the Aurora series pool, the competitive pool. So I am really curious to see what these teams are going to pull out for this upcoming map.
Yeah, I guess like my initial thought would be like, oh, maybe it's going to kind of play a little bit akin to Sunset, just in the way that mid is set up. But based on what these two teams have shown us in terms of comps, I'm expecting Bind, but with mid.
Well, it looks like we are going to be seeing Waterloo on this defense. Interestingly, we have Cypher towards A pistol rounds. That's definitely a little bit of a unique choice. Util coming out very early on from the attackers. UNT. Dog does not quite spot out Castley, but she does go for the clone, and Jelly. Diabolical right click coming out. Sage able to get that bomb down on site. Waterloo now being forced to retake all 4 players towards CT.
Yeah, and the fact that this, Waterloo retake is going to be down a player, so unfortunate for the kind of power that they're going to have. But you can see the recommit through lane still going to be here for 3 players. Jiyoung having to do a lot of the heavy lifting from the other side of the site here, able to find one, and Jay in towards the back of the site here with this ghost, going to be able to actually not find Jiyoung. Instead, it's going to be feeling it 3K, and Jiyoung staying alive to secure things for Waterloo in this pistol.
Don't even start that
I
shit,
gotta give some
right?
credit to Waterloo here. I thought UNT had that round in the bag, but they were able to close out that retake. Jiyoung and feeling it. Dominating, which we can see in their buys. Feeling it, able to force up to full shields and the Bulldog.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice investment, especially considering, us Bulldog enjoyers, me and feeling it, both Bulldog enjoyers. You get a sense of like security in that 3rd round if you can keep that Bulldog alive, because it's kind of essentially just like a Vandal fire rate, but with the Phantom damage.
Obscuring vision. Blocking vision.
Stars coming out on the A site already. We are seeing a 4-man rush onto the A site. Trips not quite finding any value for Waterloo's Cypher. Lilac able to catch Aldi on this rotate in sewers.
That's huge. Finding that pick, it now kind of creates a question mark for Waterloo of, does this lurk really come through, and if so, when? But there's still Cypher utility to hold. It's hell to take care of Vav over towards CT. Texas, they're being really active on this flank. So Sage alone on the site, though, gets taken out. So now things start to become a little difficult here. Jiyoung takes care of Jelly, and the spray from Feeling It is good as well. It's Jay and Lilac now trying to have to hold. Feeling It's gone, but the stick still going through, but the spray is good. And the Ares from Lilac closes things out. You can read the words on your screen. It's a thrifty UNT. What an upset in a round.
Beautiful round from UNT, but on the other end of things, devastating for Waterloo to lose that round. Their economy is just absolutely in shambles. And, they had the play. They played their cards right, but Lilac just completely threw a wedge in all of their plans that round with that lurk.
Yeah, and again, this has kind of turned the tables entirely in terms of the momentum of this game. Waterloo on a even harsher eco than UNT.
Cam is not going to spot anyone over on the A site. UNT work their way up towards B. They do get spotted out by Vav on that Clove. Gets hit by the KO knife. No util to work with here. Just blasting in a dream. Gets taken down by the double swing from Jay and Jelly. Bomb is going to get planted for Garage. Castley putting some question marks up on the map, taking down that trip flank.
Oh, Jelly and Jay finally combining. They're much more active now. The rewrap is good as well. And so now Castley 1v4. I mean, a 1v5 we said was like super unlikely, but a 1v4, not probable, but some damage to be done for sure.
Looks like Castley trying to play for some exit frags potentially. She does get spotted out by that KO knife. UNT not giving her any picks though, choosing to run in the opposite direction.
She's gonna go down to bomb. Respectable play.
I think that's definitely the right call here. That's going to be a second round on the board for the University of North Texas. They only took 1 casualty. Their economy is already in a great place. Now it's in an even better place. Waterloo hopefully going to be able to afford full guns this round as we're going to be headed into our first full buy round of the map.
Finally it comes on the board, right? We thought it would be, 1 round earlier, but then we got a whole thrifty round and things got a little crazy. But we're here. And because of that thrifty round and the nature of it, you can see the economy. UNT is still going to have a good buy for round 5, even if they lose this flawlessly.
There.
It does get some early information that there are some players on the attackers working their way up towards
Lilac.
mid. Lilac in a diabolical position here. Gets punished though, not aware that it's 3 pushing up.
My camera is destroyed. I must wait a moment. Cage triggered.
Cassie's alone. Oh, the peer was good though. So Cassie's not going to be able to find that pick. The Seeker's coming through. Dimensional Drift also getting used here. Aldi just trying to engage towards Heaven. Can't take care of Jay though, and there's that wrap from Jelly. Just trying to take care of this lone Viper. Ends up backing off. So Vavin feeling it. They have so much work that needs to get done.
Last player
The
standing.
swing coming through. Sage takes care of Vavin, feeling it. Nothing left. UNT now up to 3.
Keep
Not
that
only up to
focus.
3, but
More of
up
that,
at the
and we're
economy.
outta here.
They're set for the next 2 rounds, and Waterloo forced onto just mere sheriffs and classics as they call a timeout to discuss things. Losing that second round, losing that anti-eco was just brutal for them, and we're seeing the effects of this as UNT has been able to just take that round, take that little gap and just run with it.
Yeah, they're now able to just fully blitz their way to the end, right? We had a really strong map 1 from UNT, and the map 2 that we saw, that bind, was really back and forth, and it was Waterloo getting that 9-3 half that ultimately pushed them to the end here. So UNT looking to try and keep things ahead here, maintain their lead going into the half, and then close things out, because again, this is the returning champs. UNT, at the very least, they want to make these LAN finals.
Definitely, and we are seeing both controllers have their ultimates online here. Both Hell and Aldi from either team are going to be just 1 off of getting their ultimate, so I am curious to see if we're going to be seeing play with that Astral, with that Cosmic Divide, any kind of hard hit with that. Alternatively, is Feeling It going to ult off mid here? Is she going to save that ult for retake?
Poison Orb goes down. Aldi just holding the swing, though. It's going through. Jelly with a judge. Takes care of Feeling It. And Aldi, you're next up to bat. The flash was not dodged in time. So Aldi has to give up that tower space.
Here. Camera taken out.
Aldi's still holding this angle from Raptors, still able to hear the UNT players poking and prodding their way towards Heaven. However, UNT looks like they're not committing the bomb here, as the bomb is actually being taken down through sewers towards the A site.
I think it makes sense, right? You don't want to push into the guaranteed 2 players. Instead, you'll take a risk on the other side of the map, see what you can find. So they move towards A. They try and catch out this rotation. It doesn't come through, though.
Lilac able to pick off the young Jelly, still holding this big judge. Does get taken down by Casley, but Jay able to trade out her teammate in an instant, and that is going to be
We're doing good.
4th round on the board for UNC. Almost a flawless, and yet again, their economy is in a very great spot. Jelly still opting to go for to go for a judge here.
It's a flawless in spirit, and I think the fact that Jelly is just going to keep trying to find value with this judge is huge. Again, just in terms of economy management, right?
Could be worse.
The fact that
could be
all
better.
of these players are sitting at over 6,000, and you're seeing such a minimal investment, for lack of a better word, is huge. But that spray on the Feeling It just completely destroys this Waterloo game plan again. It's just UNT finding success in mid
I've got
over
your
and over
trail.
again.
Healing over here.
Mid is just imperative for winning this map. You need to have mid control, and UNT has just been able to take it so flawlessly every single round. Speaking of UNT, it looks like they're headed towards the A site. Lilac is going to be able to take Vav down, though. UNT capitalizing off that pick, hitting the neural theft down, spot out the Waterloo players. They know who they're running into here. Cypher Trip does get taken down, as Hell is going to be able to plant that bomb
Spike
onto
planted.
the A site.
They plant, and now they post. As you can see, Lilac takes care of Aldi with ease. The trades are coming through as well. So Casley 1v3, not a chance. Not this time. UNT 5-1 lead, and honestly, they show no signs of stopping.
Things are looking rough for Waterloo right now. They're being forced onto yet another save round. We're seeing sheriffs, we're seeing stingers. They do have that overdrive available at their disposal, so, you know, potentially getting an early pick with the overdrive, being able to throw a neural theft down on that pick could go huge for them, but UNT is just looking unstoppable right now.
Yeah, like I'm almost wondering, like, what can Waterloo really do here? Well, the answer in this round is most likely play for retake, because immediately the Cosmic Divide comes out, and so does this A site plant. Full 5v5 coming into this. Null command also available to delay if they want it. Aldi would be the first responder here, stuck in towards ramp. Position known. Answer no. Take care of Sage, Jelly, and L. Both trying to flash out, but it actually doesn't favor them at all. Waterloo have started to contain this. So it's now on the back of Jay to take care of Vav. And now Waterloo numbers only even for a second, but now Jay evens them up permanently. And now it's a 1v1, but feeling it. Takes care of it. And Waterloo, long-awaited second round, and, you know, at this point, you can make the argument it's not as distant as that lead in map number 1.
Absolutely not. I mean, only a 3-round gap so far, so, you know, Waterloo can still turn this half around. But, yeah, well played from both teams there. I think things got a little bit spooky, you know. That's kind of the con of that Astro Wall, is that you do lose so much information for what's going on behind the wall. And talking about mid control again, the one round that UNT has lost so far, or the one round since pistol round that they've lost so far, they took no effort to control mid, and that is kind of what cost them, you know. Waterloo's able to rotate very fast, they're able to take control of the map, able to contain them so easily.
Scout destroyed.
Well, mid once again being conquered by UNT. You take the majority of the space, but you can see these 3 players over towards B Heaven for Waterloo, trying to remain a consistent threat, continuing to try and hold the space here. Vav takes care of Jay, and that's huge. Just on the spray, completely demolishes the UNT, I guess, ability to hit the site, right? You have no controller.
I am curious to see if UNT picks up on the fact that there are 3 Heaven players, so A is going to be the weak site here. Lilac is actually already worked up onto the A site. We are seeing that bomb being taken through sewers. Sky, however, playing late, kind of playing for rotates potentially. Sage does get spotted out by the Trailblazer.
Captain Castley, the key holder to the round. Lilac finds their way towards Heaven alongside the spike, but Castley takes care of L. So this is doable, but UNT off the back of the flash continue to trade 1-for-1, and Lilac doubles up as well. So this round back in doable favor, but Castley over towards screens takes care of that Cypher. And now it's Sage 1v1 tagged up by the trap wire. Castley looking to find one more, can't find it. The time will be there. This UNT plant, it's gonna go down, but Sage will eventually fall to the hands of Feeling It. And Waterloo up to 3 now. This is hope.
Great stuff from Waterloo here. I love how they really worked on contesting mid this round. You know, I think that was a really great adaptation from them. I do wonder how long it's going to take before UNT picks up on this very heavy mid stack, though, because the con of stacking so heavily towards Heaven is that A becomes so weak, so it's all up to Cassie to be able to hold that site down, which she did last round, but definitely a little scary. As I say that, looks like UNT might have already picked up on that.
I was gonna say, I have news for you. UNT taking your advice quite well and moving immediately to just a 5-man hit towards A. Castley, you're playing Retake Simulator. You're not gonna be able to contest with this, especially when Jelly has used that dimensional drift, completely navigated through all of the Cypher traps, has now found the stack of players, and secured the space for Jay to play inside the smoke.
Spike planted.
Scout destroyed.
Trailblazer is going to spot Jay out, though. Nope, he's taking quite yet as I say that. Ji-Young takes down Jelly. Hell in a really good position, holding this cross here with Sage, who now chooses to fall back forward sight. Sky Flash does not hit. Aldi able to take down Hell and Sage. It is now a 2v4
Player standing.
1v4 for Lilac. That's taken down by Fab to close the round. That's a 4th round on the board for Waterloo. That round differential gap has now been shut down. A mere 1 round. Lots of hearts and meowing coming out from the Waterloo players over there on the A site.
LOL, lots of love. And unfortunately, I have bad news in terms of UNT fans. This is now a round where if UNT lose this, they're finally on an eco. And this might be the first time they're on an eco since the pistol. Since they lost the pistol. So, crucial round economically for UNT to win.
Definitely a crucial round. Looks like UNT modifying the strategy just a little bit, which I love this adaptation. Still going for that heavy A rush, knowing it's the weak surf at this time, leaving Lilac to lurk and control mid. Lilac is going to be able to get that information on the rotate. Decoy comes out, Cassidy does not fall for the Deka. Decoy opting to spray ramps. Hell's going to be able to get that bomb down. Now becoming post plant versus retake for Waterloo and UNT.
Blinded.
Sage over here towards ramp, takes care of Aldi, and the backstab is about to come through, but the Seekers, they discover it. So Sage still able to hold for this engagement, can trade out 1 for 1. The backstab starts to speed up though, and Jelly takes care of both of those ramps players. And now, feeling it, Ji-Young, you've got so much to do to try and tie things up, but UNT, it just feels inevitable. The reigning champs remain in the lead as they get 6-4.
Great round from both Jelly and Jay there. I think we're finally starting to see kind of the benefits of this Astra pick compared to, say, an Omen or Clove. You know, we saw that the Gravity Well was able to completely deny all of screens there on the A site as University of Waterloo went for a retake. UNT looks like they're going for a similar strat. Waterloo still not changing things up yet, still keeping 3 towards B Heaven.
I've got your trail.
Seekers now coming out from UNT. They want to just kind of slam this A site as fast as possible. Castley stuck in towards CT here.
Looks like our stream is frozen. Oh, unfrozen. Lovely.
Yep.
All right,
We're
Hell
live.
planting the bomb. Hey, able to get one in screens. Castley, being very disciplined, not overpeaking here. Does not clear this corner though. Dang, that's
Jay! What?
Last round before the switch.
4K. All right. You know, I think if UNT ends up winning the series, I know who my MVP is. Because, Jay, not only did you show up on map 1, where you were playing Omen, not only did you show up on map 2, where you were playing, I believe, Brim, and you were the MVP on map 2, you're showing up now on map 3, playing Astra! Every controller in the game! You've got it!
Jay, yeah. Great work there, my goodness.
I must
Does look like UNT switching their strategy up, you know, like they have to read that Waterloo finally switched up their setup. Castley able to get the first pick onto Jelly, gets a second onto Jay. Tries to get the neural theft out, but not quite close into the body. So UNT is gonna have to slow this pick down, potentially reset.
Oh.
Give me a... Where is
Now secured.
everyone?
Positions are going to be known, so you can see this decision to speed up that's going through. Heaven is taken over by UNT, so Castley on a bit of an island here, still has that Guardian in hand, but the shots need to be precise. And so, as this rewrap takes place over out towards mid,
Where is everyone?
neural theft coming out from UNT now. Locations will be known, and the pivot's going to be made. A site under threat. Vav, what can you find?
UNT taking some control of CT, throwing down some utility to try to slow down the rotate. They are going to be able to get this bomb
30
planted
seconds
onto
left.
the site relatively for free. Vav still sitting in elbow with a Bucky. Lilac going to punish that though. Aldi now sitting in screens with an Ares. It is a
Spike
3v3
planted.
with Waterloo on a not so great buy. Null command comes out from UNT. Lilac not quite able to get the pick onto Aldi though. That's going to open things up for UNT.
Shutting them down.
Hell stuck in towards the back of the site here. Needs to find a multi-frag, but can only find the one. And Sage, nothing found either. So the closest half we've had yet in map number 3. 5-7, Waterloo start to close that lead.
Switching sides.
Yeah, like you said, this is the closest half we've seen all series. 5-7. I mean, even just looking at these score lines, it's really interesting because it looks like UNT should be kind of dominating here, but they're not. And a lot of these rounds that UNT has won have come down to them just killing everyone, whereas Waterloo has just been able to kind of play for that defuse during that first round, during that first half. So I am curious to see what this is going to look like now that we're seeing a side flip. You know, we're seeing Waterloo is going to have a double controller on the attack, which is going to make things a little bit harder for them compared to UNT's double initiator composition.
Questions asked, answers to be delivered as Jelly finds the information that one player was over towards ramps, and you can see the rotations being pulled right now, especially because of that aggression over out towards B main from Jay. All the info's been given over. They know for a fact it's going to be this A hit, and now that Castle's gone in mid, Waterloo, you've got no choice. You need to commit, but when Vav is called out through a smoke, Jelly gets that frag with ease. 5 versus 3 is where things sit, and Waterloo yet to find a kill or even damage.
Scout destroyed.
Every single Waterloo player has now been funneled towards ramp. Looks with UNT being a little disciplined, not punishing them, not pinching them. As I say that, though, all these players begin to work their way towards ropes where they're going to run into Sage. Gets taken down by Aldi, but Jay taking down Jiyoung mid.
The only saving grace for Waterloo is that you should be able to steal this plant away, but feeling it! You're gonna get taken out by the frag nade.
30 seconds left.
Oh, that's tragic. And Aldi, 1v4, you swing in, no kill. Nothing given. UNT, confident pistol.
Great work from UNT, like you had mentioned. Almost a flawless pistol. Thor still left alive. In a really great spot here, and I mean, I don't want to say anything yet because the first pistol round of this game, the other team ended up converting their eco, so we'll see what happens this time. We'll see if UNT can keep their momentum going into this half, or if Waterloo is going to take some inspiration from UNT and convert this round in their favor.
Anything's possible at this point. With the way this series has gone, I wouldn't be surprised, but Jay's judge is something to be feared. That's an understatement. So.
Yeah, Jay and a shotgun. That is a match made in heaven, and I love that. Sage making some contact here, flashing out to try to get some information, try to lure University of North Texas into Waterloo's judge trap.
Scout destroyed.
Oh, Jay.
Spike
Said
down
match
mid.
made in heaven, and it's divine. 2K from Jay. Jelly with the Outlaw able to take care of Castley's lurk as well. And now Waterloo 2v4 yet again. Aldi swings in. Judge, nothing to be found. Instead, it's Sage to find 2 more. And no thrifty shenanigans going on this time. Waterloo now going to be able to buy up rifles.
Yet again, nearly a flawless round from North Texas, only taking 1 casualty. Looks like as of right now, we are not going to be seeing an NA buy coming out, so UNT opting to keep their eco safe for next round. Waterloo, though, like you had mentioned, we're going to be seeing 5 rifles come up, and I do want to talk quickly about Sage on this Guardian because, my goodness, that is a lethal combination. Sage's Guardian shots all series have just been lovely.
Yeah, the headshots have just been nasty. And so, as this B-side aggression continues to come out from UNT, answer to the problem in mid has yet to be solved for Waterloo, especially now that Lilac is sitting here waiting to swing off. The trade comes through onto Sage though, so that's at least something, but Castley gets taken down instead. And there's Jelly, still able to trade 1-for-1, but the player advantage firmly in the hands of UNT. Sure, you got low HP on 2 of those players, but 3v2.
Able to get that bomb down, like you had said, 3v2. Lilac working her way towards heaven, as both of her teammates are actually in main right now, so definitely going to be a little bit of a trickier retake. Lilac silently drops 2 health using the rope.
Oh, Aldi, this is a great wrap, but you're being held. You have to be aware of that.
Last player
Lilac is
standing.
just going to stick, and now that Hell's been able to find those frags, it's inevitable. UNT, double digits.
We defend this
The
reality.
champs looking to find their way to that land final.
UNT has just been playing so flawlessly, and we're actually seeing Waterloo calling a timeout here, which historically their timeouts have led to some upsets and some comebacks.
But I'm almost having trouble figuring out where the issue is. Like, what specifically can you pinpoint in terms of this Waterloo attack that has been the reason that these rounds are not going their way?
I mean, we've only seen 3 rounds so far, none of which have been like a standard buy yet, so it's a little hard to point out, but what I am seeing from UNT is just very well-rehearsed protocols, so it's the little things, like even when they had guns, which we saw all series, let's say they win pistol, they have guns, they're still not afraid to take space. They know how to work the map, and then in that last round, like we just saw 2 of the players immediately pushing out into B main, they're able to do a double swing to punish Castley's lurk, which was just perfectly timed. You can tell that these players have really rehearsed everything they've done, and they're able to make adaptations to their strategies on the fly, like we saw in the first half, you know? They recognize where the weak sites are, what changes might be happening, they're able to predict what Waterloo would be doing based on a reaction to their own play style, so these are just really great players, and Jelly, that is a big gun.
Not again. I don't want to see 7 rounds of Jelly op. Waterloo need a chance to fight back in this series, but look at the space that's taken. Castley, you're cornered. There's no way you can push for anything towards A, and because of the information that Jelly has here, it's going to allow for some of these stacks on the other sides of the map to just be that much more lethal.
Yeah, like you said, being able to push out into A main and get that information that no one's pushing that, as well as also just UNT's kind of proactiveness with holding mid and taking mid space, it's just creating this impenetrable wall for Waterloo to have to fight against.
And the flashes to follow. Aldi on the swing gets taken out by Sage though, and there's the op shot from Jelly. Last moment. Hell flashes in, finds the kill onto Vav as well. Now Waterloo, yeah, just nothing. There is nothing given, nothing gained besides a Hell 3K and a flawless round for UNT.
Great round, especially Hell there. And I do want to point out that op on Jelly, that goes immediately back to what I was just saying about, we saw that Waterloo did not have the best buy there, lots of stingers, for example, and University of North Texas was just not afraid. Jelly still pushed up, but they're smart about it because Jay was with Jelly to trade if things went wrong. And even in mid, we saw 2 players there able to trade if things went wrong, and their one lone player of Lilac was playing far back. So, you know, not exactly donating a gun to the enemy team if things go wrong. It's just so well thought out.
Oh, Jelly opening kill onto Ji-Young, then uses that gate crash to get right on out of there. Jay, though, inside that fast lane, takes care of feeling it, but the shot misses from Jelly to trade. And so now it's a 3-on-3, and you can see Hell on this flank immediately starts to speed up. It's going to be a complete collapsing retake from every avenue possible for UNT here, as Waterloo, they need to try and find a 6th.
If they get gets kicked off as Lilac able to take down her mirror in Castly. Flash comes out from hell.
Last player
Like,
standing.
onto Vav, who pops, not dead yet, immediately gets punished though, and that is series point for UNT.
UNT, are we resing the teammate? Yes, we are. Lilac bringing Hell back
Team
up to
ace.
speed. Sage gonna be able to finally get that diffuse online. The team ace to come through, and I
Match
feel like
point.
that is poetic.
Come on, squad.
Because this
Gotta
map,
play that
there has
whistle.
been no hard carries, right? It's been a team effort to get to
Here.
this point. We're now seeing someone new at the top of the leaderboard, that being Hell, 17-7 with 12 assists.
Hell is definitely my MVP of this map so far. I know we were talking about Jay a little earlier, but like you said, 12 assists
Yeah.
and top fragging with that AD ratio is
It's
just
good.
criminal activity. We are seeing Waterloo working towards
must
mid.
wait a moment.
UNT actually playing a little more passively towards mid.
Found
Those
one.
speakers are going to come out though. To take a fight here.
I'm out of here.
These stuns though, Waterloo, you need to try and find something now. This is series point. And Hell stuck in towards the bottom of these vents. Teammate in tow by the name of Lilac. To hope to find something, and hopefully that pick from Castly is it. But Lilac immediately on the trade to Aldi, and Jelly can back up, and the re-hit from Sage to do so much damage. It's now Vav and Castly to keep the dreams alive for Waterloo. Make it all up to the captain, being held through the cages. 1 versus 3 to keep your team alive. It's not the
Defenders
case.
win.
The reigning champs of UNT have found their way to that land final in Kansas City, and they are able to beat Waterloo the second time in a row.
That was a great way to close the series out. I mean, really, really commendable effort from both teams there. But University of North Texas, tonight, you guys have proved why you are the reigning champions, and you have definitely proven yourselves worthy of that spot in the finals in Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think that last map, listen, we had a lot of hope coming into this for Waterloo. And I think map 2 kind of summed up exactly why, right? The fact that they were able to put on that level of a fight, and they were able to even take that map in a situation where we were all expecting 2-0 is just insane. But I think this map does tell the story of the series. And when you look at the stats from this map and you look at just the overall spread from the UNT players, it's no surprise. Jay, MVP in terms of the ACS, my MVP for the series, because the stat lines they were able to put up on Astra, Brim, Omen, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's the thing I love about UNT. So, again, looking at these score lines, there's only a 4 kill difference between Lilac over on the bottom, who I can't even say on the bottom because she still has a 202 ACS, which is higher than 4 out of the 5 players on the enemy team. But,
Yeah.
you know, like you had mentioned, team effort, that second to last round with the team ace really was poetic in that every single player pulled their weight, not only in their own utility for their teammates, like we saw with however many assists Jay and Hell had by the end, but also in getting kills. You know, every single one of these players on the side of UNT was just really able to pull through throughout the whole series, but on this last map especially.
Underrated stat that I want to bring up that unfortunately we don't have in our little graphic here. Jelly had 6 first bloods. Jelly had more first bloods than Waterloo did rounds, which is insane when you consider that this wasn't like a 13-1 blowout. Like this was, you know, there was some fight back from Waterloo here, and Jelly just mauled this team. And even when you look at a player like Sage as well, also having 4 first bloods in this, it really was those openings in these rounds that were just going UNT's way. And it was that coordination at the start of these rounds that led to just cleaner mid-round decisions and then ultimately just better late-round finishes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And this is also looking at the amount of first bloods, which again, unfortunately, we do not have on this graphic, but there were 12 first bloods in total from the side of UNT compared to 6 from the side of Waterloo. So, kind of looking at these compositions as well, we can kind of see the advantages and disadvantages of the double initiator versus the double smokes. The team that ran the double initiator was able to get so much more aggressive, get so many more first bloods compared to the team that ran the double controller, who unfortunately their slower play style that composition is conducive to does get countered pretty heavily by just sheer aggression.
I think the way that you put it summed it up, right? Especially on those defensive halves where you saw UNT just time and time again just always find another avenue to push and gain space on those defenses. So unfortunately for Waterloo though, that's it. Tournament run over. I think they did a phenomenal job. They still finished top 6, which considering the size of this season to last season is still a great spot to finish at. But for the side of UNT, again, our reigning champs, as they're going to be making their way to Kansas City later on down the road, they do have a run ahead of them. They're going to be in that lower finals. They're going to be competing to try and get to, well, the lower semis, competing to get to the lower finals. And we're going to have a winner's interview just on the way. So don't go anywhere, because if you're excited like I am, Lil Hoppa, I want to hear what these winners have to say. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Aurora series. My name is Lil Happa, and I am joined here with my co-caster Ancient Angel, as well as the entirety of UNC's Valorant team. So how are you guys feeling coming off of this win?
Oh, we feel great. Yesterday was a little bit of a heartbreaker, but I think we really pulled through today, so I feel really good.
Yeah, talking about yesterday, right? It was super close, 3-map game against Fisher, and we talk about Fisher in collegiate esports all the time, and they're just known as like the powerhouse. So the fact that it was so close, was that like a confidence shaker to you guys coming into today, or were you guys just like zen?
I don't know. I think after the loss, the vibes were a little bit low, but as soon as like that first round hit of map one today, we were all just laughing and having fun. So we kind of forgot really all about what happened yesterday.
Yeah, so I actually do want to talk a little bit about map one today. I'm looking at the score line here. 13-3, and not even on your own map pick. I mean, talk me through what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, we did a little bit of VOD reviewing, some counter stratting, but really, the advice was just like, hey, take your gunfights, we can shoot back, and I guess we kind of did that. So
And then speaking of shooting back, right? This is a personal thing because you went absolutely ballistic in this series, right? We had the kind of conversation of like, oh, on map one, right, we talked about the Jay and Jelly show, and then on map two, you just went absolutely insane. I think you were like the match MVP with like 29 kills. It just looked ridiculous from you. And then we go on to map three, and you're still so consistent. And right off camera, you mentioned that a lot of that credit goes into your IGL for giving you a
absolutely,
lot of support and giving
my
you a lot of
IGL.
good calls.
Yep.
But the other thing that I want to ask is, does that translate over to the rest of your team? And what is the structure like within your team that gives yourself such space to find these opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, I know last semester before I joined, it was kind of the jelly go kill. That was kind of the mantra. But we've really put a lot of structure into it this semester. And I don't know. I think we all kind of have our moments to shine. So it, it might have just been my time to shine that map, but everybody gets their one, right?
I mean, you had your whole series. So.
All right, Jay, before we let you and your lovely team go, do any of you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, like I said, shout out my IGL Sage, shout out my coach, Iro, shout out my girlfriend Jessica. I know she's watching at home. And yeah, shout out all of my team. And shout out every single one of these people. Love them all to death, so.
Well, shout out to you, Jay, and shout outs to the rest of UNT. We're going to be so excited to see you guys at KC, Kansas City, for the finals. You guys made it to LAN, so give yourselves a pat on the back because that in itself is a great achievement. We're going to be excited to see you guys, hopefully back-to-back champs in just 1 week.
Thank you guys so much.
And that's going to wrap up round 2, the lower quarterfinals here for Aurora series. Next time we see you, it'll be next week as these teams head to Kansas City. The 4 that remain are going to be heading out to Kansas City to be playing out the rest of this bracket live. They're going to be in front of each other. They're going to be talking trash. It's going to be great. I'm super excited. Hapa, you want to give any final words?
Big shout out to you, Angel, for co-casting me all throughout this entire season. You've been lovely to co-cast with. Big shout out to our production, Reached At, and Kiana. There we go. I don't have her name in front of me. Reached Out, Kiana. Thank you so much for doing all the behind the scenes stuff today. Aurora series, thank you for letting me cast with you this season. And we will see you all next time live from Kansas City for finals.